So, now what? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, Basement Dweller? Guys, I'm up here in Forest Lake visiting the video game store in the far north. Where is the laser? I want the laser. This sucks. Can't stop it. So you gotta punch it. Yeah. What's up, Basement Dwellers? Uncle Danny. Sorry about this. Excuse me. Hello?
Hello, this is Blake Smith with the Internal Revenue Service.
Okay.
I'm calling to let you know that you owe back taxes.
There are scammers all over the place. They're the scammers that will call you up on the phone to say you won a free cruise and they just need your credit card information to seal the deal. Then there's the Nigerian prince that for some reason still works in this day and age, claiming he has a whole bunch of money he wants to share with you and he just needs your bank account information. And then, there's the IRS, that says you owe back taxes, and people trust these guys because they're a high authority figure and you don't want to mess with the IRS. But what if there was a scam artist that wasn't interested in money? He couldn't be bought or reasoned or negotiated with. Because out there, some men just want your compliance.
This is one of those movies that goes to a dark place really fast. It starts off as any small budget indie movie would, with gritty artsy shots of the community. This is Sandra. Sandra's the manager of the local Chicken Witch, which is a fast food restaurant in the area.
Christ, your regional manager doesn't know? Come on, how hard is it to deal with these things?
I don't appreciate you talking to me like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't appreciate you letting $1,500 worth of product spoil.
And we quickly learn that she is about as incompetent as she is awkward.
Together, how do you deal with your kids? Because my kid has a big game tonight, and I'm 50 miles away dealing with a woman who
sorry about
thinks
that.
she
Her
can...
employees don't respect her at all, and she knows it. And she tries so hard to fit in with everybody's conversations, but without any success.
Hey, speak for yourself. My man sex me sometimes.
Oh, Sandra!
Yeah. We keep it exciting.
You know,
what
come
do
to
to get
think of
me
it,
worked
I
up.
did have some managers just like this back in my fast food days.
Oh my God.
So apparently it's going to be a really busy day at Chicken Witch, and they're low on product, which is a very regular thing if you've ever worked in the restaurant business.
Bushes out back behind the grease tank.
Oh, good. Thank you. Did you get your shift meal yet?
No, ma'am.
Now this here is Harold. He's being introduced because later he'll be relevant.
Here, though, just to have one of the new type of milkshakes.
Oh, there you go. You should. I asked you before to fill your toppings.
No, I know, I...
Go to the freezer
Becky.
and get some.
Don't you
And
dare.
Becky, what did I say to you about clean, clean, clean?
Sandra, you got a phone call in the back, policeman?
And of course, like many things, when it rains, it pours. Just when things are getting busy, Sandra gets a call from the local police stating that Becky, one of Sandra's
Hello,
employees,
South
is
End.
being accused of stealing money from a customer.
The theft. It seems one of your employees stole some money from a customer's purse.
I'm sorry?
You have a young lady works at the register, about 19 years old, blonde.
Becky?
Becky. Yeah, we have her name is Rebecca. That's right, Becky.
Notice that Sandra gives him all the names and information that he needs. Fishing.
She can attest to the theft. Officer Daniels, I'm gonna need you.
Becky is called into the office and questioned by Officer Daniels on the phone, and he takes no time getting serious with her.
It says you took money out of her purse. We also have one of my
I didn't
surveillance-
take anything at
Okay,
all,
well,
sir. I
hold on.
don't.
We also have one of my surveillance units backing up her claim. You want to clear this up for me? So take that off your shoulders.
Okay, just a second. He's saying that he will have to take you down to jail, and that most likely you'll have to spend the night. Or I could strip search you here.
No. No. No, away.
Just tell her that it's gonna be quicker if you strip search her.
Okay, she's not hiding anything.
In what world would you go along with this? This doesn't even make sense. If I got some random phone call from some guy claiming to be a cop telling me to do this, I'd tell him to piss off and hang up on him.
But they don't hang up.
Yes.
Officer Daniels continues to dive further and further to see how far he can take this facade.
Cell phone and put them all in a bag, okay? What kind of car do you have? After she searches
He fishes
you, it'll all be
information about
over.
Becky's brother and uses that to back her into a corner.
Hey, do you have any older siblings ever been in trouble with the law?
Do you mean my brother?
Bingo. That's right, your brother.
And it's getting busier up front, and Sandra's needed up there, so she leaves one of the other employees, Kevin, to watch Becky and back. At first, Kevin seems to be the voice of reason, but does very little to call out Officer Daniels on his BS. Instead, Officer Daniels demands that someone else look after Becky.
You're engaged.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, well, that's great. Congrats.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Terrific.
Well, do you trust him?
Oh, God.
Yes, of course.
Sandra calls in her fiancé to watch Becky, and Officer Daniels wastes no time and has Becky strip again.
He's going to sit with you.
You believe everything a thief says? Evan, you're a grown man. You think a naked girl doesn't have a place to hide money?
Okay, how can you not realize that something is very wrong here?
He is around.
Okay. Wait, I'm gonna need you to have her do jumping jacks.
Okay, this is going way beyond my ability to suspend my belief. No, 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 no! This is going too far. Nobody is this stupid! Nobody would let it go to this level. There's no way. I can suspend my beliefs when watching a movie like this about manipulation and whatnot, but nobody is this stupid! You would never get somebody to do this in real life. This is stupid!
Aren't you going to kiss me goodbye?
Harold comes back to rescue us from all the stupidity that is filling this restaurant.
Oh, hey, Harold. What are you doing back?
I thought I'd stop in for one of those frosted thingies.
Oh, Harold, good. Come with me.
As an officer of the law, I'm going to need you to inspect her. It's not your decision.
Well, I'll be damned if it isn't.
Hey, do you hear from him yet?
I don't know what's going on. Harold, what are you doing out here? You're supposed to be in there with Becky.
That man's asking me to do things that ain't right.
What?
He's asking me to take her apron off and look at her.
Thank you, Harold. You are the only sane person that works at this fast food establishment.
Robbie? Hey, it's Sandra.
Sandra from the south end?
Sandra
Yes, sir. I'm
finally
calling about
does
that-
what she should
that
have done
situation.
hours ago. She calls her boss. And guess
my
what?
employee that
Her
stole?
boss has
The
no
officer
idea
said
what
you've
she's
been
talking
talking to
about.
him?
Sandra then goes back to the office and gets on the phone with Officer Daniels. And he makes this snarky comment.
Who are you?
Yes, I'll have an original chic witch, and I'll have one of those frost blenders. I'm just kidding, Sandra. It's me. It's Officer Daniels.
And Sandra finally realizes she's been had. They decide to call the real cops, and an investigation begins.
They're gonna meet you, and we can finish this first thing in the morning, okay?
You always worked under Sandra.
She hired me.
The police are able to track the phone card sale to a store where they're able to get his license plates through the security camera. Now they track Officer Daniels down and arrest him at his job, where he works as a telemarketer for credit security.
Well, ma'am, I can make it happen right away before someone uses your name to gain credit. Can you hold on a sec?
But do you feel any responsibility for what you did.
Weeks later, during a television interview, Sandra tries to explain herself and does a pretty poor job of it.
I feel that it was terrible what happened to Becky. But I was doing what I thought was the right thing. I did what I think anybody would do, what you would do in that circumstance.
Take a girl's clothes away because someone told you to on the phone.
Someone who said they were the police.
Did you know that the police station was only a half-mile away?
Well, what he said was that he was investigating from her house. And I asked him, when are you coming? I asked many times.
And yet he never came, and that didn't make you suspicious?
Yeah, well, he had an answer every time that I asked a question. And everything about it was strange to me. But I was very, very stressed, and we were very busy. And when I asked him a question, he always had an answer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This film is ludicrous. It is totally unbelievable. Nobody is this stupid. Nobody would ever let things get this out of control and go this far. Is what I would say if this was a work of fiction. But this actually happened. And I don't mean based on a true story happened. I mean almost exactly how you saw it in this movie. Happened back in 2004.
Folks, this is one of those examples where truth is stranger than fiction. This film isn't based on a true story or inspired by real events. It is actually the story of something that happened at a McDonald's in April of 2004. All of the ridiculous things that Officer Daniels makes these people do, the stripping, the jumping jacks, the spanking, and yes, even that, is a scene-by-scene reenactment of real events.
Really, the only thing that seems different between the movie and what happened in real life is how Sandra's fiance is portrayed. Now, in the movie, he's kind of portrayed as a bumbling buffoon who just didn't know any better and was guided by this mastermind and put in just an awful situation. Whereas in real life, it seems that he was more taking advantage of the situation in the sense that he might be able to get away with it. He was also actually arrested and charged for his actions. And in the video, it's not portrayed quite the same. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. But from what I can see and what I gather and what happened, it sounds like he was a little bit more skeevy in real life than in this movie.
And I know a lot of you are sitting there thinking to yourselves, I would never fall for that. You're probably right. But then again, how many of you have just shared things on Facebook without researching it first? I can't tell you how many times I've seen intelligent people on Facebook getting fooled into sharing something from The Onion. There are cons on all sorts of levels, and each person is vulnerable to different ones. Some people fall for get-rich-quick schemes. Some fall for those too-good-to-be-true discounts. And in the case of compliance, these people fell for what they thought was a figure of authority who knew better than they did. This blind obedience has actually been put to a test in a lab. It was called Milgram's experiment on obedience to authority. For this test, Stanley Milgram recruited subjects for his experiments from various walks of life. Teachers, and I say that with quotations, were asked to administer increasingly severe electric shocks to the learner. In reality, the only electric shocks that were ever delivered in this experiment were the single 45-volt shock samples given to each teacher at the beginning. Now, they did this to give the teachers a feeling for the jolts that they thought they would be discharging. The shock levels were labeled from 15 to 450 volts. On the numeric scale, verbal anchors added to the frightful appearance of the instrument. Beginning from the lower end, jolt levels were labeled slight shock, moderate shock, strong shock, very strong shock, intense shock, and extreme intensity shock. The next two anchors were danger, severe shock, and past that was just the death XXX. As the teachings would progress, the shocks would get worse and worse. The person playing the learner would give out screams of pain each time the shocks got worse and worse, even though the learner wasn't really getting shocked. The purpose of this was to see when the teachers would just stop administering shocks because, well, the other person was getting hurt. If at any point any of the teachers hesitated to inflict shocks, the experimenter would pressure them to proceed. Such demands would just be like, the experiment requires you to continue. Now, as you would expect, many of the people said, no, I'm not doing this. But what's surprising is that 65% of the teachers were willing to progress all the way to the maximum lethal dose because the experimenter would, coerce them to continue. Think about that. It's clear that they are potentially killing this person, but they're going along with it because this person obviously knows better than I do, so it'll be fine, even though you can hear him screaming from the other room.
So what exactly do I want you to take away from all this? Well, if you haven't seen the movie yet, see it now, knowing that this actually happened, and sit in disbelief as you watch and see how far it went.
What I want from you is to think about what in your life you accept without questioning, whether it be religious, a hot political topic, or maybe a simple Facebook post that you share without giving a second thought to its validity. There are people out there who count on your compliance. Politicians, news networks, hell, even advertisers count on you to believe what they say without question. Every time you hear something that gives you pause, take some time to follow up on it. Who knows? You might be the first in a long line of people to finally challenge the status quo.
But more than anything, I just want you to be aware. And I want you to stay safe. So be vigilant. There's people out there all over the place, both good and bad, that are counting on your compliance. Till next week, Basement Dwellers.